On Sunday, we had the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort in the Netherlands. Max Verstappen won in front of his home crowd. Max Verstappen won. He also got 1 point for fastest lap. George Russell got second for Mercedes. Charles Leclerc got third for Ferrari. The other Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton, was fourth. Sergio Perez, the other Red Bull, was fifth. Fernando Alonso for Alpine was sixth. Lando Norris for McLaren was seventh. And Carlos Sainz for Ferrari showed up in eighth. Let's say first, Carlos Sainz got absolutely screwed by his team, Ferrari. So many things went wrong for Carlos Sainz. It's not even funny. He had a really slow, horrible pit stop where he stopped for 12.7 seconds. They also gave him an unsafe release. Also during that stop, Ferrari left out a wheel gun in a really dangerous position. Sergio Perez ran over it. Later, Carlos Sainz did something that was his fault. He passed someone in a dangerous position under a yellow caution flag. That's not good at all. That was on him. But Carlos Sainz started in third place and finished in P8. Ferrari's a mess. They're a disaster. I'm getting tired of talking about it, but they just massively, monumentally hurt their own driver, Carlos Sainz, on Sunday, and it was painful to watch. By the way, I cannot imagine that Ferrari team principal Mattia Binotto is going to keep his job after this year. I'm not hating on the guy, but I just see it going so bad for Ferrari week in and week out, and they need new leadership setting the tone in Ferrari, in Italy at Ferrari. Now, near the end of the race, Lewis Hamilton for Mercedes had the lead with 18, 17 laps to go, and it looked like Lewis Hamilton was in a prime position to win this race. In first, you had Lewis. In second was the other Mercedes, George Russell. And in third was Max Verstappen. Then on lap 55 of 72, Valtteri Bottas pulled off with a problem right along the main straight. That's a big deal. It led to a safety car. So behind the safety car, Max Verstappen pitted for soft tires. And then George Russell, because they were doing safety car through pit lane, because the pit straight was taken up with them trying to remove Valtteri Bottas' car. They're driving through pit lane. Right before George Russell enters pit lane, he speaks up and goes, he makes a late decision saying, I need soft tires. This isn't going to work. I need to put on soft tires. So George Russell puts on soft tires, and now when the race restarted with 11 laps to go, Lewis Hamilton was in first place, but he held track position, but he had medium tires. Max Verstappen was in second with soft tires, and George Russell was in third also with soft tires. Lewis had no buffer behind him to slow down Max Verstappen to make it easier for Max to make it harder, for Max to pass Lewis Hamilton. Max passed Lewis Hamilton very, very easily. Also, by the way, Lewis Hamilton was really weak on the restart. He sped up at a point that allowed Max Verstappen to basically use the entire main straight to overtake him. And Lewis was really mad at his team. He was like, that was the biggest F up. I can't believe, quote, you guys bleeped me, man. Can't believe how bleeped I am. Or can't tell you how bleeped I am. You guys bleeped me. It's funny how quick Lewis Hamilton changed his tune on the radio towards his team when things didn't go his way. Because earlier in the race, when he's in first place, he's like, you guys are the best, man. Great pit stops, great decisions. This is awesome. I just don't like a guy getting all mad and berating his team. You can get mad at another driver, you can get mad at stuff, but you got to work with these people all year. I just don't think it's a good look for Lewis Hamilton to be berating his team. So Lewis went by first. They didn't pit him. Then George Russell realized, hey, this isn't going to work. I need soft tires. I'll give up track position to get them. By the way, George was right to ask for soft tires. The medium tire didn't have enough pace. That was proven true with Max Verstappen, George, and Charles Leclerc all passing Lewis with ease. I thought, if anything, it was a heads-up move by George Russell to realize the scenario and request a pit stop and, frankly, save a lot of points for Mercedes. At the time, it seemed wrong and confusing why pit George Russell, but it was proven to be the right move. The medium tire simply did not have enough pace. It's better that Lewis got passed than both Mercedes getting passed. Now, there was a weird moment. This is unrelated, but I want to put on my tinfoil hat for a second. Yuki Tsunoda had a problem during the race. He pitted. They were like, is it a tire that's off? What's going on here? He went back on the track only to pull off afterward with a real problem, and it led to a virtual safety car. By the way, that virtual safety car helped out Max Verstappen. At great risk of making a lot of people very angry, I want to share this thought. I'm sure a lot of people have thought it before. Isn't it interesting AlphaTauri had a problem that went on to help Max Verstappen. And what happened was AlphaTauri created a virtual safety car which helped Max Verstappen without impacting the points for the Red Bull main team. AlphaTauri is Red Bull's second team, got the same owner. It's just uncomfortable to me when that kind of stuff happens. My conspiracy theory mind tends to wonder if there isn't anything shady happening there. You have to hide it, you can't document it, all this stuff, but Red Bull owns both teams, and AlphaTauri helped Max. I'm just saying, just pointing it out, I'm asking the question, hey, I'm just telling you, AlphaTauri had some kind of weird problem. They sent a car back onto the track only to have them pull off very briefly afterward. Led to a virtual safety car, which helped out Max Verstappen. Just saying, Red Bull owns both teams. It was kind of weird. Now, that's a conspiracy theory. It was probably nothing. Now, with the late safety cars, though, with virtual safety car when Yuki Tsunoda had a problem, then later when Valtteri Bottas had to pull off on the main straight, it really hurt Mercedes. It put them in a bad spot. And I thought Mercedes did the best they could to handle a bad situation as well as they could. Now, after the Dutch Grand Prix, here are the standings. Here are the driver's standings. Max Verstappen leads the driver's standings with 310 points. Way behind him is Charles Leclerc with 201 points. In third, also with 201 points, is Sergio Perez. 201 points for Sergio Perez and 201 points for Charles Leclerc. In fourth, you've got George Russell with 188 points. Right behind him is Carlos Sainz with 175 points. And in sixth is Lewis Hamilton with 158 points. I want to check George Russell. I thought he had 198 points. Let me double check that. F1 standings drivers. I thought George Russell had 198 points. Let's find out. It's coming very slowly. Oh, George Russell, 188 points. Okay, so my notes are right. Here are the team or constructors standings. Red Bull right now, by the way, Red Bull and Max Verstappen widened their lead above everyone on Sunday. Red Bull is in first in the team standings with 511 points, followed by Ferrari in second with 376 points. In third is Mercedes with 346 points, and Alpine has 125 points in fourth place. McLaren is in fifth with 101 points. What I thought last week was I thought Red Bull basically won the world title. Red Bull and Max feel like they're unbeatable at this point, and with every week now since then, they keep gaining and growing their lead. I'm not sure when, but at some point very soon, it's going to become mathematically impossible for anybody to beat Max Verstappen and beat Red Bull. And I'm curious how long we have until that day comes. I could figure it out if I want. I don't want to do the work and the math to figure it out. The next race is September 11 in Italy. That's coming up this Sunday. First day of the NFL season is also that day. Going to be really fun. Going to be an awesome Sunday. And F1, it's been really fun. What I loved about this race, by the way, the Dutch Grand Prix, I didn't believe Max Verstappen was going to win. I thought Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes had it. All I'm saying is I'm glad when I'm not sure who's going to win. I don't like when, 2 weeks ago, Max Verstappen won far and away, easily, wasn't even close. I don't like that kind of race. I like when I'm not sure who's going to win. And, I don't mind if Max wins as long as I'm just not sure he's going to win until the very end. That makes me happy. I like when it's close and competitive till the end. And this race, the Dutch Grand Prix, was intense and fun.